Warning, this podcast is intended for adult audiences only. We discuss sex and sexual relationships in a frank and open manner. We are not marriage and family therapist or sex therapist, and the content provided is for informational and entertainment purposes only. If you are under the age of 18 or do not wish to hear explicit discussions about sex and sexual relationships or adult language, then you shouldn't listen any further. But if you are, well, grab your seat, grab a drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of The Accidental Swingers.
If we thought that ice tinkling was bad.
Yeah, I know.
Ice tinkling sounds dirty.
Everything sounds dirty to us.
I know.
As I'm looking across the microphone at you, my dear.
Thank you.
As we're oh, goddamn, why were we not recording?
We are
Oh,
recording.
we are.
Yes.
Well, that's going in an audiogram.
We're Myrina and Tristan, a longtime married professional couple in our early 50s. Kids, dogs, cats, vacations at Disney World, you know, the whole 9 yards. But in 2018, we decided, after years of kind of talking about it, to live a non-monogamous lifestyle.
But it wasn't that easy, was it?
No, it wasn't.
You see, we sort of accidentally started swinging.
Yeah, we did. And we found our story so humorous and fun that we decided to record and chronicle our journey for ourselves so that we could go back and listen to our adventures.
And boy, have we had some adventures.
Yeah, we have.
In the last few years, we've found that we really love this lifestyle that we've chosen. And it's not only strengthened our marriage, but it's also helped us to grow both as individuals and as a couple.
And as we began to go back and listen to our recordings, we realized that others may really benefit from listening to and hearing about our mistakes and our very candid discussions about what we were going through and experiencing.
We talk about and we laugh about.
We laugh a lot.
Yeah, we do. We laugh about the mistakes that we've made, the crazy things that we've experienced, and the exciting things that have happened to us.
But we also talk very openly and honestly about the tough times, the emotional landmines and pitfalls we had to navigate, some rougher than others.
So we thought that we'd create this podcast so that others may gain some perspective or some insight and maybe even learn a lesson or two about what to do and what not to do in their own journeys.
And basically, you'll join us on our journey in real time because we will include excerpts of our recordings. Some will be quick outtakes, others will be longer conversations about what we were going through or experiencing at that time.
So grab a drink,
Or settle into your seat if you're driving.
relax, sit back, and join us as we bumble our way through this adventure that we call
The lifestyle. Well, hey, everybody.
Hey,
Welcome. Accidental Swingers Podcast, episode number 36.
welcome to episode number 36.
Here we go. We're ready. We're excited because you know what we're doing?
I'm
You
not
do.
sure.
You do.
No, I do know, but you tell me.
We are getting ready to head to Naughty in New Orleans.
Yes.
Where we decided to record one more episode before we head out. And we'll release this right before Naughty so that you guys are like basically on the cusp right as we're getting ready to go.
Yes.
So it's been a lot of fun leading up to heading out there. We've been doing a Discord group. We have a free Discord group for listeners that have joined us. And gosh, how many people do we have in that group now? About
78.
Yeah, so almost 40 couples.
Yeah.
Probably it is around 40
Yeah, because
couples.
not all of them have both.
Right,
Yeah.
people in. And it has been so fun. And people are in there chatting. We've got a ladies group because, you know, I love my ladies groups. And actually, the ladies group was very active even before the main group kind of kicked in because all the women, we were all chit-chatting about the incredibly important stuff, which I can't share. But it might have been things like luggage. And
I was about
deodorant. But other than that, it's been really hot and sexy.
I was about to disclose my semi, but then that just dropped again when luggage came up.
You don't know what we're hauling in our luggage. Why do you think we need to carry lots of luggage? There's lots of goodies
that's
in there.
true.
See? You don't
No,
know?
it's just all the ladies together. It kind of got me a little excited.
I see. Yes. So
We
had
have some incredibly sexy ladies. And
we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredibly sexy couples in this group.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun
We
meeting.
can't wait to meet everybody in person.
Right. We've been meeting them. We've been having group calls. Everybody's getting to know each other. So we decided we would do, when we get there, we're going to do an unofficial meet and greet at one of the bar takeovers on Wednesday when we get there. So everybody can kind of come and meet each other because we've been talking together for over a month now. And so we're all going to get together, and then we're doing an extra special VIP party, treating our listeners who are also in our private community that are going to be in Naughty New Orleans. We're going to treat them to something nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a little group get together there. Super fun. If you guys missed this, or if you're planning on going to Naughty in New Orleans next year after listening to all the fun that we've had getting ready, and you'll hear what we did when we're there. We will be having a Discord group or some kind of a chat group next year.
Right.
Also.
And a link on our website to purchase your tickets
Oh, that's right. That's right. So
for 2023.
That's right. So if you do that, it doesn't cost you any extra. It is an affiliate link for us, but that money actually is what helps treat our community members to their VIP party. So it all goes back.
It's passed through.
It all goes back to our listeners one way or another. But yeah, so that's a super great way to do that too. So yes, if you're interested in going to Naughty in New Orleans, check that out on our website. That would be great. What else before we get going? Oh, yeah, we're going to be busy when we're there.
That's right.
Yeah, we're getting together with other podcasters. Super cool. We're going to do a podcaster meet and greet. Naughty is sponsoring a podcaster meet and greet. And then we're also doing a panel. When the workshops and the classes, we're doing a panel on sex positive podcasting.
Yes.
So that'll be really fun. And then what else are we doing?
We're actually teaching 4 workshops.
We're teaching 4 workshops as part of our Swinky Life
crew.
I
don't know what exactly we're called.
I call it our project.
It's a project,
It
yes.
is. I call it our Swinky Life project.
Yeah.
But so in case you haven't been following us on social media or haven't listened to any of our podcasts, I guess now is the time to officially introduce our other half.
Yeah. Well, the people who have listened to us know them from episodes 11, 25, and 29. And then, of course, we're all over Instagram.
Yes.
But I don't think we've actually talked at length about them
I know.
in our podcast.
But they're sitting right here, so we really can't talk at
They are,
length
because
about them
it's going to start getting awkward.
It is. Although I have my head turned so I can't see them. So
that means we're not here.
That's right. So don't say anything that we wouldn't say if they weren't sitting right here in front of us. Okay. That's important.
That's a pro tip right there.
Well, and also on our after parties is what I was going to say.
They're in all of our after parties.
Right,
It's
because
always the 4 of us sitting around talking about whatever
the
crazy
trouble we
shit
get
we did
into.
the night before.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to officially introduce you to our, what did we say we're going to call them?
We are an open swinging poly quad.
There you go.
Yes. I think that pretty well describes it.
We have an official title now.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
So welcome to the podcast.
Oh, I thank you.
Phoenix,
Oh,
Phyre,
thank
and
you.
Crimson Dragonfly.
you.
Our other half, our other significant others.
Yes.
Yes.
We are glad to be here.
Yes. So it's kind of our official introduction to introduce everybody to you two. As Tristan said, everybody knows a little bit about our relationship in the sense that we're in most of our pictures all together and everything on social media. But the reason we thought it'd be fun to come and talk about our relationship and what we're doing and our vision with Swinky Life, because it all revolves around Naughty in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Because in 2019, that's where we all met.
That's where it all began.
That's where it
Scene
all.
of crime.
That's right. And as a matter of fact, super fun. Tristan went back and he found the raw audio
Oh my gosh.
that we
I
recorded when we recorded after we met you guys that talks about us meeting you.
Oh, this should be fun.
Hang on. There is a fleeting reference
Oh.
in episode 8 when we talk about
That's right. Yes,
yeah.
that
at the pool party, the couple, and then that naked couple,
naked
and then the
couple.
other naked couple.
the other naked couple.
Well, you're
was
one of those
us.
naked couples. I'm not sure which, but
I think they were the naked couple with the other naked couple.
I think so.
I think
Yeah.
they were the
Yes.
naked couple. Yes. So funny that we did not even realize that that's who that was until we started doing all of
Yeah.
this. Like we had met and been together for a while as our quad relationship was growing and the podcast all started, and we get to episode 8 and we were like, holy shit.
oh, that's them.
We met them a year before. We had a smattering, just an inkling of maybe we did. We couldn't quite remember.
Right. And I think in this audio we even say that
Yeah,
we
like
think
did
we met them in
I think we
2018.
did. Maybe we did. Yeah, but we didn't really remember.
What
Well,
a
y'all
difference
just
a
blew us
year
away.
makes.
So memorable.
Timing was not right.
It was not.
Y'all weren't ready
yes.
for us, let's just say.
Yeah, I think you're right.
What did you say?
I don't remember.
You said what a difference a year makes.
Oh, what a difference a year makes.
Too late now. Yeah, so we have this audio, and so we thought it would be really fun to go ahead and play this because this is what we do here at the Accidental Swingers podcast is we play some field audio that we have if we have it, and we happen to have this. So let's go.
And we are jumping ahead chronologically in our story.
Right, because this is 2019.
Yeah,
This
but
is-
we've bent some rules the last couple of. Well, actually, we don't have rules. We've expanded some boundaries the last couple of episodes by compressing several months into a couple of episodes, and so this is part of that. This is the continuation of that, and so what we're going to listen to is audio that we recorded about July 2019
Right.
in Naughty New Orleans.
Right. All right, let's listen to it.
Okay.
So we did workshop, dinner, meet and greets, or at the meet and greet, and we're meeting everybody. So that's when we meet.
Phoenix.
Crimson.
Right.
Finally.
You and I were talking to
Phoenix.
first, and
Crimson.
it was off, and so that just three of us were talking, and then she came up, and so then I met her for the first time,
Right.
and we started talking, and then we kind of paired off, and we were talking, and you and
Phoenix.
were talking, and we're talking and talking and talking, and people are leaving, and I look over, and our dates are sitting at a table waiting for us while we're talking to
Phoenix.
Crimson.
me. And at some point I said, so then I became aware of that, and I said to you at one point, our dates are over there. We need to
We have to go.
Yeah, we have to go. Because it was starting to get awkward, probably for them.
Yeah.
And so, because there was nobody left in the bar, it's just them waiting for us.
Yeah,
and
because
and
people had left
yeah.
to go to the
party.
bayou.
Yeah, because the
thing.
buses had left, and yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so that's so funny. I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so that was our
Yeah.
first time meeting.
Phoenix.
Crimson.
Right. So
Phoenix.
Crimson.
live not far from us, 15 miles maybe.
Yeah.
And we had messaged them back and forth.
Even last year at New
Yeah.
Orleans, and prior to New Orleans, and then and even like the
Yeah.
last night last year when you and I were at the carousel.
Oh, that's right.
They
he
were.
said,
he,
yes.
He
come-
texted and said, "Come meet us
at Colette's."
Colette's. Yeah, and we hadn't. I mean,
We hadn't met them. We didn't know
I think
who
we
they
met
were.
them kind of in passing at the pool party.
I don't remember at all.
I think we did, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
I think you're right.
But we had just met, and so we were
we were
laser
all,
focused
yeah.
on.
Yeah. So anyway, so bizarre that the four of us were totally immersed in each other, so much so that everybody else left and whatever we didn't even notice.
Everybody leaving.
And so because you were talking to her and I was talking to him, and it was and so he and I had an instant immediate connection, and it was like, this is crazy. And so he's like, I can't believe that I haven't met you before. And I'm like, I know. He's like, we should have met. And I'm like, nah, we were meant to meet now. This is better. For whatever reason, he's like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's all good. So it was really interesting. And we do still talk about the fact, like, that is kind of crazy, but that the timing just obviously wasn't right. Like, how could we not have met them? And you're right, we probably did meet them. We've actually probably been in the same places as them.
I've seen them
We've been on guest lists.
I've seen them
when
on
they
guest
are.
lists.
Yeah.
And I remember one time seeing. I think we even said something.
We did. I think. Yeah. I think we messaged, "Hey, we're going to be there. Find us if you're.
Yeah.
We look like our picture." And crickets.
Right.
So interesting. So yeah. So that's an important piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
So we met.
Phoenix.
Crimson.
So then we went up. So our dates were waiting for us while we were talking to others. Yeah, but we saw. Yeah. So we went to the foam party. That was the foam party.
Yes.
And so somehow though at the foam party. So we met. But we saw.
Crimson.
Phoenix.
How did that happen?
All I remember is I was going to the bar to get a beer, and I saw her, and she said, "Where are you going?" or something like that. And I said, "I'm going to get a beer. Would you like something?" All right, so we were on Friday. We went to. Oh no, we started talking about foam party. Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
So I was going
Okay.
I was going to get a beer, and
Crimson.
so
Yeah.
Crimson.
basically started kissing me,
Right.
and we stood there for like 45 minutes making out.
So,
And at
yeah,
some
so
point,
then-
and I don't remember where, but you wound up topless,
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Told me to take my top.
and I wound
Or-
up, and I wound.
I pulled it down because we were in the sun. Getting some sun.
Well, then we
My boobs.
like put our and you wound up just completely topless.
No, I
and-
hadn't pulled it down, but okay.
Oh, I thought you were. Well, whatever. And I took my shirt off too, and so and
Crimson.
was wearing a thong and nothing more. a thong and a hat.
She had a thing, a band.
Yeah, but then
thing
that wound up.
yeah.
That was gone too.
Yeah.
Phoenix.
She was wearing a bathing suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I made out with her for like at least 45 minutes, and just right in the middle of everything, and people were milling around us, bumping into us. One guy came up to me at one point, I have no idea who it was, and whispered in my ear, "You are one lucky son of a bitch." Or a lucky motherfucker or something. I was a lucky something, and then I just went, I didn't look. I just nodded and said, with her tongue in my mouth. But I just said to myself, I'm not going to stop until she stops. And at one point then I started fingering her, and, her mouth was right next to my ear, and she was coming, and she came a couple of times, and I could feel her, contracting, and it was hot as shit, and just all,
in the middle of the foam
part, there's foam all over us, and, I'd get a big burst of foam, and she would wipe it off, and she was wearing sunglasses, and so we were wiping foam off of each other, and it was just really fucking hot. And I looked over and I saw you with
Phoenix,
and you're, topless, and he's fingering you. Yeah. I could tell, and I could see him like hard fingering you. Yeah. And so that was hot. And,
yeah, we got yelled at.
Yeah, we didn't get yelled at. But,
we did. We got yelled at twice.
Well, you took his dick out too, didn't you?
Well, I didn't quite take it out. It was sticking out at the top of his shorts. I may have pulled his shorts down a smidge just to have a little bit more access to said protruding penis, but yeah, we got yelled at twice. And I said, we're going to be asked to leave if we don't stop. Yeah, because we made out and talked and made out and talked and felt each other up also the entire time, the 45 minutes, oblivious to everything, except for then I look up and was standing right there, like 2 people away from me.
Yeah, and I had never seen, and then, I forget even how we all disengaged, but...
For 2 seconds.
Yeah, well, no, and like when that ended, and then, I don't even remember at that point what happened, but then you pointed out to me, because then we were getting ready to leave, because we were meeting.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said we were having dinner with them.
Yeah.
At Felix's again.
Yeah. So the foam party was awesome.
The foam party was awesome.
Yeah.
So that was pretty fucking amazing.
So that was Friday. Afternoon, and so that Friday night.
So that was Friday.
So then how
that
do we
was
wind
dinner.
Up? How do we wind up? So we wind up then.
Well, that was early. It must have been early, because then we went to Pat O'Brien's.
Oh, that's right.
That was Friday night also. That was Friday.
Yeah, because it was Friday night that we all wound up in the group room.
But we'd eaten dinner and gone home and changed.
Yeah, and then went back
showered.
We must
have.
have.
Because that was Friday.
That was Friday. Because, it was foam party.
Yeah.
Felix's, Pat O'Brien's. I totally forgot about that.
Yes, we went to Pat O'Brien's.
We met up with all...
We met them at like 6.
Because we had prearranged the 12 of us who were going to pitch in and buy the big-ass Hurricane.
Right.
So we all met.
Yeah. So I don't know how we did all of that in one day.
We did,
but
though.
we did.
It was all the same. It was all Friday.
So dinner, and then we met them at 6.
We did have an early dinner.
It was early. It was like 4. It must have been 4, because we did, so foam party, and then dinner. Yeah, so we went home, then we went back to the hotel, we changed. Mm-hmm. We met, so then we met whoever was going. We didn't know exactly who was going at Pat O'Brien's for the big-ass Hurricane. We knew, and I think we knew
Phoenix and Crimson.
Phoenix
texted me and said,
I think that they were
coming?
They were, because you made a spreadsheet for everybody who was coming.
Well, I didn't, no, it was just people who were interested, so could go back and look and see, because she really wanted to do the big-ass Hurricane. Yeah. So we ended up doing that, so we met them there, right?
Yeah.
We walked separately, because so it was
Phoenix, Crimson,
and us.
And the 2 of us, So 12 of us.
Yeah. So that was super fun. Mm-hmm. So that was crazy, because we're in the patio at Pat O'Brien's, and the cute birthday girl next to us, they were taking a jumbo Hurricane as well. So it was very obvious, and everybody was making out with everybody else, and we did not hold back at that. It was super fun, though. It was really, really fun. Yeah, so we just kind of talked to everybody, though. And it's so interesting, the people I talked to the least the entire time were like, I never really connected with, but that was a super fun time. And and we chatted, and we were there for about an hour and a half, I think, about an hour and a half. So then everybody decided to go to dinner. We were all leaving for dinner. Mm-hmm. they started parading out. The birthday girl stops me and asks me something about our lifestyle stuff. Mm-hmm. How does she get into the lifestyle? Yeah. How does she do what we were all doing?
Yes.
So somehow she stopped me, and we were kind of the last two kind of walking out. So I chatted with her, and I think I even gave her a card.
You did, yeah.
I gave her my regular business card and said, I have resources for you and things like that. And she wanted to know how she even talk to her husband about it. And so I said, there's lots of resources and things. So we look up and everybody's gone by the time the 5 minutes or so that she's wanting to chat with me. So you and I were both like, man, we need to just fucking eat. So then somebody texted and they said, we're going over here and we're going to go get a table. We were like, we just need to eat.
Because we had eaten so early at Felix's, and all we had at Felix's were oysters.
Yeah.
And so we were feeling it, and we needed
to eat.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to get back together with and now, at that point in time, had we made arrangements? No.
I think during, it's because at some point we concocted this orgy idea. Or somebody concocted
this
orgy
someone said we're all meeting in the playrooms.
Yeah.
To have
basically
sex.
Have a big orgy.
Yeah, we're all going to meet in the playrooms to have sex.
Yeah.
Okay. So, which I was like, shit, all right. That was going to be a new weird experience. So, anyway, I don't think that had quite come up yet, but maybe it had. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
I think it
all
had.
blur. But you and I went to go eat. We all just said we're going to meet up.
Yeah.
So they went to whatever restaurant they went to. You and I literally walked like 2 doors down and ducked into the very first place that had food.
Yeah.
And ate dinner, and then went back to the hotel and had to. Yeah, so we met them in the lobby. Mm-hmm. We met people in the lobby. Yeah, so Friday night, so we met them in the lobby, and it ended up being us and
Phoenix
and Crimson.
Yeah, and dropped off.
Yeah, they dropped off and dropped off.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we met them in the lobby, and then we all went up to the playrooms, and it's all kind of surreal if you think about it. Like a total buzz day. Like you just maintain this drunk buzz the entire day.
Yeah, I remember us
we went up
searching for a place to accommodate all of us.
And we found one bed, and we knew there was a couple. So we went into the group room in the far corner and kind of commandeered a mattress. We figured we could do it, all 8 of us on one mattress. And so we started playing. So
Phoenix
and I started together, and I was next. Yeah, so we started, and so
Phoenix
got up to get a condom and jumped in.
Phoenix
Still mad about that. Jumped in because I had talked about being together forever. So that was nice. So fucked me and was right next to me and came over.
I was fucking.
You were fucking.
Yeah.
I don't know who was.
Yeah,
fucking
I was next to you. And
so came over. She was getting fucked from behind.
Phoenix
Must have been fucking her.
I think he was. Yeah.
I don't know where.
Yeah.
Or was.
No, because
Crimson
it was with
Yeah. So, anyways, doesn't really matter. So, so we were together. Started kissing, like sucking on my boobs. I remember that, and I kissed her, and then she went off. I think she may have kissed me too. I can't really remember. And then got up, finished, and then I don't think he was even cleared away from me before
Phoenix
swooped in,
grabbed me, spun me around, and he's like, "That's not happening again." I was like, "You got cock blocked." So, came up at one point in time, hardly even, I don't know if he was just assessing the situation and moved on. I have no idea. But everybody else kept rotating through, and I ended up with
Phoenix
the entire rest of the time.
I wound up with
Crimson.
the entire rest of the
you
night.
wound up
Crimson.
the rest of the time, and then everybody left, and I was still having sex with
Phoenix
and you were still having sex with
Crimson.
And at this point, so then we had moved over, and I had come everywhere. I came a lot. And so we had moved off that original bed. You two were in the bed.
The back one.
The back one.
Phoenix
And I had moved over one bed. And so the one that we all had been on was clear. So staff came over to clean it up.
Phoenix
And I were kind of right on the edge. And I heard the guy go, "Oh my God, this bed is sopping wet." And so
Phoenix
I was just like, wonder who that could have been. The guy was like, "Good God," and so it's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. But yeah, we fucked them for a long time, and we were so into, like, there could have been 500 people in that room standing around watching, and I wouldn't have noticed a one of them. It was intense. So
Phoenix
we finally kind of pull up, and he like looks around. He's like,
everyone is gone. We're like, oh, where did they go? I don't know. Where did they go? I don't know. And he goes, is that
Crimson?
And I said, I don't know. I think so. And then he looks. He's like, no, I don't know if that's them or not. I said, I don't know. There was like nobody. I don't even know what time it was. Was it
I don't know either.
2 o'clock in the morning?
I have no idea.
I have no idea. So we got up. It was later. It was like, it was like 1 or 2. So we got up to get our clothes. We finally finished. And your guys' clothes were still there. And so he said, well, here's their clothes. And I said, well, then that's probably them. And then you guys finished. So that was crazy and really neat and a super experience. And so it was this weird thing that I was very worried about at first. And it just seems like when you say you're going to have 8 people together and you're all going to have sex, well, the reality is it's really just 3 guys besides your husband and then the women or whatever it is. And so, I mean, it seemed way more weird than it actually was. It was great.
Yeah, it was
really a good number.
Yeah, wasn't
but I ended up playing only with 2 people. I mean, I didn't play with you and I didn't play with so it wasn't crazy. But yeah, so then, so that was like really hot and really awesome and just amazing. So then we were leaving and
Phoenix.
Crimson.
said goodbye, and that's when we ran into.
Oh, that's right. That was
Yes.
that night. Okay.
That was that night, and I was so tired. And we had been no wonder thinking about it. Holy shit! No wonder I was exhausted. Look at the day we'd had.
I know.
So poor who so desperately wanted to be with somebody.
Yeah,
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a very nice guy, and his wife is all fucking.
And then that's all she's interested in. And he found me and whatever, and I was just like, I just want to go. Because I think at some point in time I'd said, well, if I see him, because had messaged me or something about
that he was
going to be looking for somebody, and I said, well, we'll be up there, and she's like, really? And I'm like, well, we're all going to be up there or whatever. So I think it was kind of
he probably had a
construed or whatever. But and not to say that he couldn't have jumped in if he had been there. He could have jumped in if he had been there, because we all knew each other. But so I was exhausted, so we ended up leaving and was ready to go get in bed. And we did. So that was about 2 o'clock in the morning. So that was Friday.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Good times, huh?
Good
Very good
Yeah.
times.
Good memories.
golly.
Good start.
So those were the days. So when we listened to the clip, and there's so much beeping with all the names because there were so many people, we decided that it would be so helpful for you guys for us to record our own names and add those in there. So you're welcome. It adds such a great piece to the story. So now you know who was fucking who was with who, and then if there's a beep, it wasn't one of us. It was somebody, it was somebody else.
Someone else in the revolving door team.
So we just wanted to play that audio because it is so fun to go back and hear, obviously, all the things. We talk about it all the time, about hearing us talk about what it was like in that moment. And it's been 3 years.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was the other thing that we really thought was hysterical about that audio? What we
Which
just referred to
part?
as swinger math.
Well, I was going to wait and get to that, but we can talk about it now. No, it's totally fine. So I wanted to point out at the very end clip there. So we were talking about having group sex in the group room at Naughty in New Orleans. So let's be clear. We had never done anything like that before. And I was really nervous. And we probably say it earlier in the clip, but because there's so much and we just used these pieces. But I was so nervous and I didn't know what it was going to be like. And I'd put a lot of anxiety on myself about this because originally it was supposed to be maybe 6 couples.
Mm-hmm.
I think there were supposed to be six couples, like 12 people.
Yeah. That was the plan. Was 6. Yeah.
Right. And so I was anxious. And so Myrina math, when I realized it later, it's really only 3 other men besides my husband. How hard could that be?
So 2 couples dropped off. And so it's just 8 of us.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, it was really only 3 other dudes other than me. And
See how easy
That's
that
doable.
was. So doable. So what was I even worried about?
You got this, girl.
I got it. So much so that Phoenix got caught in the middle of the whole process.
I had to wait in line.
You did.
Take a number.
So in listening to that, I had no idea that we had not all planned to meet at the foam party. In my mind,
know.
it's so fresh
I
that
know.
because
Yeah,
that's
we just
where
ran
we
into you
really
guys
It was
there.
just random that we all
right. But that's
saw
where
each other.
everything kind of solidified. And in hearing the story back, I thought we had said we'll meet at the foam party. From the night before was when we met at the meet and greet.
Right.
And then it was the next day that was the foam party, and we were doing the hurricane at Pat O's and everything like that. Yeah, so I had no idea. I thought we had all talked about that. So running into each other again at that time,
Magical moments, right place,
Apparently
right
it
time.
worked out.
I guess so.
That's why we love the
Thank
foam
goodness.
party.
Right. Yeah. And as we were listening to that, it kind of spurred some memories. And you talk about you, Phoenix, being cock blocked. So the woman that you were originally fucking, who was sucking Myrina's boobs, she went back. Her husband was fucking Crimson at first, and then when he was done, then she went in with you.
That's right. The two
And
of
that's
us.
when I was finishing with the woman. So as soon as I saw you open up, basically, I was watching. I was fucking her from behind, and I was watching Myrina, because I always do.
Right.
And then, but I was watching you for you to open up. And so as soon as, that's when I scurried back there.
You dove there, too.
And so she was starting to kiss you, and I got in there, and I just started. Yeah, I pussy blocked her big time. And I don't know that we've ever talked about that.
No, I don't think we have.
Yeah. She was.
He remembered that when he was listening to
So
it.
there was a
Yeah.
lot of vying for position going on
Yeah.
in your
Yeah.
first group sex experience.
I knew what I wanted, and
Lucky me.
Well, apparently we all knew
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
wanted, because here we are 3 years later.
Yeah.
But there were 4 other people in the way, and we just had to keep navigating around them.
we had a great time.
We had,
with
no,
all of
we
it.
had a
no,
great
we
time.
had an awesome
So, I mean, we're
time.
joking about
It was
this.
it was
but
an
Yeah.
amazing. So that was our
The
first
whole night
group
was awesome.
experience, and that was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because prior to that, we'd only been with like just another couple at a time. So, or single. So either 3 or 4 of us. And so 8. Well, originally it was going to be 12.
Right.
And that was a little anxiety provoking for
Yeah,
me as well.
That's a lot, yeah.
But I think 8's kind of the perfect number.
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
it was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when we listened back and before this had tried to recreate the timeline in our heads, we were like,
Yeah.
okay, well that was one day, and then the hurricane drink was the next day, and then the foam party was the next day, and then wait, no, that doesn't add
was-
up, and it turned out it's all the same fucking day.
I know.
Yeah,
Like,
we
I know.
packed a lot into that day. And actually, we're referring to things that we won't get to
Right,
in our
right.
podcast for a few more episodes.
Right, but
Yeah.
It was a
But-
jam-packed
The
day.
day was
But this is how.
amazing.
This is how Naughty in New Orleans goes, and this is why it's so amazing.
And it was so organic, too. It just
Yeah.
kind of flowed. I mean, we didn't have plans except for
Nope.
going to the foam party.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
yeah, and this is among
I
many
can't wait,
reasons
yeah.
why Naughty in New Orleans is just holds a special place in our hearts. It's an amazing,
Yeah.
amazing event, and we are so excited to be going back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been waiting a long time.
Yes, we have.
yes.
Because we were all
Yes.
we were all
Yes.
slated to go last year, and that fell through. So if you go back and read our Instagram,
So that was 3 years ago.
yes.
Wow.
So how have we been in the last 3 years? I mean, COVID notwithstanding, how have we been?
As in our
Yeah.
quad,
Yeah.
our little poly quad open swinging relationship thing,
Yeah, whatever the
whatever the label is that you want to put on it.
however many sentences you can string together
Right.
to describe what we do.
So we haven't really talked about it very much because we didn't want to scare people and say, this is what happens, because it doesn't happen.
Right, it doesn't happen.
And we talk about it often that we caught lightning in a bottle. That
Right.
4 people can get along the way that we do and have a relationship the way that we do and value it the way that we do, that we've created a life together. Mm-hmm. And part of that is what we're doing now.
And what are we doing now?
Well, in part of our journey of all this stuff that's happened, we created this project that we talk about. And now is the time where we're going to start talking about it a little bit more. And you guys our listeners will start to see it a little bit more. But it's our Swinky Life project. And actually, I'm going to let Phoenix talk about how we kind of came up with this.
So I am not the greatest historian, so I might get some of the minor details
okay.
wrong. But as our relationship evolved, we discovered rapidly that I have a great love for some kinky stuff. particularly rope play and impact play. And you had some exposure and some curiosity. And so as our relationship evolved, we explored some of that together. And in doing that, we started to talk a lot about how we would have thought that all swingers would have been just like 100% into kink. It would just be like a perfect match. And that's not true. That's not true at all. We found out a lot of swingers look at kinky behavior and kinksters in general very poorly. And we also came to understand through some interesting experiences, especially Crimson Dragonfly and I, through some of our conversations with people that we knew in the kink community, that the same thing happens there. They look at swingers in a very negative way. As we began to have these conversations with people on both sides of that difference, we began to develop what we thought was an understanding of why these communities oftentimes don't play well together. And we thought that was just a fucking shame. Mm-hmm. So we were on a cruise.
No, kayaking.
Kayaking?
That was
Oh,
yeah,
we were
that was the canoe
kayaking.
trip.
wasn't
Yeah,
the paddle
it's
boat.
our
Okay,
canoe.
so we were kayaking. We'd gone kayaking for a weekend. We're kayaking down the river. Well, we're still in a boat on the water with alcohol. That was the main point.
Yes.
And we're talking about this.
So basically, you described a lot of our weekends.
Over the last 3 years.
This particular one, though,
This particular one.
conversation broke out.
And this was early on. This
Yeah,
was
it was
early
early.
on.
It was
in-
early on, yeah.
in
Yeah,
our
we got here
relationship.
quickly.
Yeah, it
And
was-
we were talking about this. We were talking about the fact that this difference exists. And in that conversation, we began talking about Kink 101 classes that we had attended at events. And the fact that they weren't very good
Right.
was the bottom line. That the people who were trying to explain to swingers why kink would be great weren't explaining it in ways that were communicating it well. And we thought someone should do a much better job of that. And who better than us?
Being so smart and clever as we are.
And humble. Don't forget humble. And
Yes.
so we came up with this idea, and then we were kicking around names. And so it's like kink, swing, swink, swinky. And so Swinky Life evolved out of that conversation that day on the river.
And the whole idea was, and not all swingers think kinksters are
No.
crazy.
Right.
Not
Not
all
all.
kinksters think
Some
swingers are
like
crazy,
us
but
play
yeah.
well in both camps.
Right. And what we wanted to do was be able to help the people who were on the edge of looking into those both camps to be able to cross over.
Make that leap.
Right, to make it, yeah, exactly, to make that leap. So we decided that would it be worth it? Could we find a way that we could do something that would be a little bit different? That would be a better way, perhaps, to introduce folks, or different workshops or classes or whatever all that entailed. And that's kind of where it just all started. And
And
that
the
was about 4 months into our
Yeah, it
relationship.
was-
I think 4 or 5
November.
months. Yeah.
That's when we went.
And in comparing our ideas with what we had experienced in other places, the things that we really wanted to make sure we accomplished, we wanted to stay focused, because a lot of those conversations and classes we'd been to kind of lost focus and became rambling. And we wanted to make sure that we presented our information in a way that was not scary. We wanted to make it approachable and fun. It doesn't have to be all about pain or humiliation or degradation. None of that has to be involved. We wanted to bring it to people at a level where it felt like something that would fit in with what they were already doing. And we wanted to teach it in such a way that when someone leaves one of our workshops, they have enough information that they could immediately run back to their room and start playing and have an idea of what they're doing and be safe and be fun.
And when we came up with the idea of doing this, part of the draw of it was that, and as our listeners know, and they probably, some of them may know about you guys also. So Tristan and I came in, obviously, to the lifestyle through the swinger side. And as we've talked about, actually episodes 34 and 35 talk a lot about how we started to begin to open up ourselves to experiencing some kink things because we were broadening those horizons. But initially, those were a hard stop for us.
Right.
That was the only thing that we said we would not do, was like kink or BDSM, because we didn't know any differently. We didn't know. We felt it was going to be pain and degradation and stuff like that. What people may not know about you guys, Phoenix and Crimson, is that you actually came into the lifestyle through the kink side.
Right.
And so that was where you cut your teeth, so to speak.
Right. When we began kind of expanding the boundaries of our marriage, we have a great dungeon locally, the Phoenix Club. So we started going there and hanging out. It's a very good dungeon to begin with, very nice place, upscale, classy as far as dungeons that I've been to so far. People were really friendly. There's no pressure to do anything that you're uncomfortable doing. You can go there and just watch all night. They're fine with that. You can talk to people. Everyone's friendly and open. So that was a good introduction for us. It got us to explore some of our own boundaries. We got to watch other people, and just like you were nervous about the first group scene, it's always nervous to put your relationship in a place where you're not sure how it's going to go. You're not sure what's going to be expected of you. You're not sure if you're going to be willing to participate in what's expected of you. All that was instantly smoothed over because there was no expectation. It was a very open, inviting place. So that was fortunate for us that we had somewhere like that to go hang out and meet other people, watch other people, see what this was all about. And so we enjoyed that for a couple of years and then moved into ethical non-monogamy and opening our relationship up that way as well.
And so it made the perfect sense to when we started talking about this, the swing and the kink side, and how different those camps are. You guys had an idea already on the kinkster side, having come from there, about what some of the issues were, or some of the things that you had experienced.
Because we had already tried to introduce fellow swingers to some kinky play, and they were a little scared or apprehensive. So that kind of gave us the sense that we wanted to approach it not in a scary way.
And that leads to the misunderstanding. This has to be scary. This has to be pain. This has to be degradation.
But they're two very, very different communities.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes.
so
Which people may not understand.
Right.
That they are incredibly different communities.
Right.
And we've often wondered, well, why is that? Because we have so much in common in the sense that we're kind of
you would think
we're all kind of outcasts.
we're outside of the Manila world.
Yeah.
So I figured, we should all get along great.
Right,
and
exactly.
we were actually very surprised.
Yeah, but each community
that.
kind of has its own stereotypes and its own kind of ideas about what the other
And each one has
community-
their own rules too. And
Very
so,
much so.
like a swinger going into, say, a BDSM kinky kind of scenario, they're not going to know those rules. So it's
well, just as a threshold level. I mean, as swingers, we kind of in our very first. Everybody knows our very first experience, those were kinksters.
Yeah.
And we didn't know it. And we were kind of freaked out about what we were walking into and didn't really understand what they were into. And
our first swinging experience.
yeah, exactly. The one that we talked about in episode 2 that, that kind of got us going. We had some real conceptions about what these BDSM folks were all about that were very strongly held beliefs that we, at the time, were very terrified of BDSM and kink. We thought that, like, all these kinksters are just really deviant and dark and scary.
Right.
And this is dangerous, and this is all about beating people. And we talk about it a little bit in episode 34.
Right. All they want to do is hurt you.
Right. And it's all about pain and degradation. And those were the conceptions that we had going in. And I think that this is a relatively common conception among other swingers, that's what BDSM's all about, and that's what kink is all about. But, as Myrina said, that's naivete. We just really didn't know any differently.
Right.
But on the other side of it, I mean, the kinksters from you guys' side.
Right.
I mean,
like
the
we had a dinner one night as an example of how kinksters view swingers. We had a dinner one night with fellow kinksters. We were going to an event at the dungeon, actually, at the Phoenix Club. And we had a vacation coming up. We were headed up North Georgia, and someone at the dinner was familiar with the area. And so they started talking with us, and they're like, oh, you should really go to this club. You should really check out this place. Don't go here. That's a swingers club. You don't want to go there. And we just made eye contact across the table, and we immediately knew, don't tell them we're also swingers. That might not go well here. And so we talked about that later, and we were like, wow, what was that all about? That was the first time someone had openly said, you don't want to associate with swingers to us. And then as luck would have it, a couple years later, I bumped into them again. And I said, hey, remember when we had dinner way back and we were talking about this, and you made this comment about swingers. Now, the context in which I was having this conversation with her at that moment, it was blatantly obvious that both of us were also swingers. And so I said...
They were also swingers.
They were also swingers.
You did not know at the time.
We did not.
Originally.
Right.
Yeah. We'd known them for like 15 minutes at dinner. And so I said, what was that all about? And she said, here's the thing. She said, swingers have no concept of consent. You walk into a swinger club, especially someone like her, she walks into a swinger club, they're going to descend upon her like wolves. And we wouldn't send someone who didn't know that into an environment like that. We would say, maybe not a place for you to go. that got us thinking. So we started thinking about the differences in what we had learned from the kink community and what we had learned recently from the swinging community. And she was right to a degree, not completely, but to a degree. Kinksters take the notion of consent incredibly serious. You don't touch a kinkster without explicit permission from them and oftentimes from their partner. And swingers kind of had this idea that you come to the house party, well, you came here for a reason. That was kind of giving consent when you walked in the door. Kinksters would never think of things that way. So there's a big difference in consent, but there's also differences in rules of etiquette. We had a house party at a swinger's house one night, and someone wanted to get tied up and flogged. And so I'm always happy to accommodate. And so I did. And within 30 minutes, it turned into this big, huge kind of sex puppy pile on the bed with me still trying to flog her.
And
I'm
people getting in the way.
I have completely lost control of the situation. I'm going to put somebody's eye out. These folks have no clue how to behave in a kink environment. And that was the other big thing that we realized. So there's a misconception in perceptions, which, to be honest, the kink community does fuel that. I mean, all the imagery that you see in social media, no one's ever talking about the lighter side of kink, by and large. It's all dark and dangerous, and that's for a fact.
Right, that's Hollywood.
That's Hollywood.
Right,
Yeah.
Things like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, but there's also a big difference in consent, and there's a big difference in communication. You know, is communication an implied thing, or is it an explicit thing? And those are the big differences that we see in the two groups.
I do think it's starting to change, though, in the swinger community, because I know at Naughty New Orleans, everywhere you see, there's consent, consent, consent.
Yeah. You know, the signs all
Strong
over the place.
yes. You know, no means no.
Enthusiastic.
So I believe
Which is why
we're
which
policing
is why,
ourselves as well. So I do believe we're getting better at that.
Yeah.
Well, even at 98, no answer is not yes. I forget
Right.
how they put
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, if
but
it's not a strong yes,
right, it needs to be. You need to ask, right? And so, and I think in the swingerverse, when you're in that environment, people are pretty respectful.
Yeah.
What happens is that it's just so different. A swinger couple might come up and kind of stand near another couple who's already having sex. So that's kind of in a scene. They're kind of doing their thing, and they're right there. They're up close, and they're hoping maybe they'll get invited in.
Right.
They might look. They might tap on the shoulder or whatever. They might say, hey, but they'll usually be respectful if the other couple says, no, thank you,
Right.
or we'll meet up with you later, whatever that is. In the kink community, you don't get that close.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
You don't ever
interrupt.
come up
right.
to someone and be like, ooh, can I join in? So there are different levels of the same kind of thing, but it's just different. It's,
Right. And even as you said that, I realized something I'd never realized before. But in the swinger community, so you're saying there's a chance. There's always a chance you're going to get invited to jump on the bed with them.
right.
Yeah.
In the kink community,
Yeah.
there's never a
No
chance. This is
Right.
our scene.
That's true.
Go the
Right.
fuck away.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a really
That's
That's a
true.
great way to put
that's
it.
a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you never. First of all, you never interrupt somebody's scene in the kink community, but you never even have the imagination that you might.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Or you shouldn't.
There's no
Right.
such thing as
Yeah.
come join our scene.
Yeah, no, that never happens.
It never happens.
Right. And part of what we found so important, and this is why we created Swinky Life, was to be able to help educate the groups about their differences so that as swingers become more interested in learning about kink and trying kink, they need to understand these different rules to be successful at even trying it.
Right.
Right.
And so that's what's become so important. It's like, how do we get on that soapbox and say, listen, the communities, you have a lot to share with each other, but here's the things you need to do to respect each other's differences. And kinksters, don't get mad. Just take that moment to make it a
Educate.
teaching.
Yeah,
Make it
that's
a
all it
teaching
is
moment.
an education
It's
thing,
just,
you know,
yes.
it's-
But swingers don't get in. Like, if you're in someone's face and during a scene, that's not the moment to educate either. So it's like, it's just us as kinksters, us as swingers, helping educate everybody. And I say us, meaning globally. Like,
Right.
kinksters should be open. It would be lovely if they were open to explaining this to more swingers. And it would be great if swingers were open to learning about that, respecting it, and then saying, you know, on this side, we do things a little bit differently, but I totally get where you're coming from, and
Right.
I respect that.
Exactly.
And I want to circle back to something we touched a moment ago and then we shifted really quick. I think it's important for us to say, we understand, we agree. Both communities are respectful of the rules in their community. No one's trying to disrespect anyone else's rules. They just don't understand. No one's ever explained it to them. And so if a swinger goes to a dungeon and they get too close to you during a scene because they're really interested, that's what they've been taught in their social group. If you turn around and look at them harshly and say, "Get the fuck away from me," you have not made a friend now. You have not helped the situation become smoother. It's a valid response, but you haven't educated them. All you've done is reinforce the notion that kinksters are dark, dangerous people. And so that's what we try to accomplish. We try to help educate and help them understand, because we know that if they understand, they will respect. That's the whole thing.
Right. And to be able to say, not now. I'll talk to you about this later. Please back away.
Right.
Or call the dungeon master. Or
And let them explain.
Yeah, and help them have with that. But seriously. And that is a pet peeve of ours also, when we see people that don't understand those rules. And so it wouldn't be against something that we might go up to somebody and say, "Hey, look, you need to back up a little bit. And come over here. See how there's a line right here? That's because you're not supposed to cross."
There's a literal line.
Duct tape on the floor is for you.
And because if you're scening and there's equipment involved, you need space. It's physically dangerous. You don't know. And if the person, if the kink scene is going on and they don't know what they're into their scene, they're not thinking that, "Oh my God, there might be someone standing behind me, so I don't wheel back this flogger like that."
And even us, as experienced as we are, in the last year, I can remember at least 2 times where we were in a large, crowded, busy dungeon. And I all of a sudden realized I'm standing too close to this guy. I didn't think I was too close, but he's swinging a 6-foot whip. I'm too close.
Well, those stations are usually set up along the other side.
They are. But still, it's the point I'm making here is it's your job, not his job, to understand what that safe distance is. And you really have to pay attention. You can't just wander around casually in a kinkster environment. That's one of the things, right? You have to pay attention to where you are and what other people are doing.
That's a great way to put it, because I found myself in the same position at this event that we were at, the same one that you're talking about. And for me, it was really crowded, and in order to walk through, I had to snake my way through. But I was very, very aware. But I still even being aware, I still wound up closer than I should have been to some people who were scening. And so, it's awareness.
It is.
Yeah.
And as I said, I think that's a big piece of it, is what we wanted to do, is to be able to educate people about it. And also to help kinksters understand that all swingers aren't like that. We're swingers.
Right.
And we're not like that because we're also kinksters. Right. And we understand, but we took the time to educate ourselves.
Exactly. We took the time to learn the rules.
And so, and I think one of the best things in Phoenix, you mentioned it too, and we all have been to our local dungeon, like you said, which happens to be called the Phoenix Club. No relation.
No relation. Just damn good choices in names.
And we went to their orientation.
We
the
did
very
too.
first time we ever went, and most dungeons will have an orientation night if you're not a member. And I highly recommend finding your local dungeon. We've talked about this before. They are there, people. You just have to find them. They're in your neighborhoods. But go on an open orientation night or a newbie night and learn. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to want to do anything. But if you're at all interested, those are usually great opportunities to learn some really basic, not only just kind of protocols and procedures, but to see what is in the world of kink.
And they usually have classes, like a flogging 101 class or rope class and things like that.
Our dungeon does, absolutely. And it's really cool, and it's a really great way to do something, as you said, Phoenix, in a very controlled environment and super friendly people. And they generally want to teach you all those things because it's in that teaching environment. They're in that teaching stage. They're in that come and learn about all of this. You're not walking up to somebody at an event in the middle of their scene.
And, that brings up a good point, too. We haven't really talked about this before, but as you say that, one of the differences that I see in the swinger community and the kink community is the kink community is much more attuned to raising up the next generation that's going to follow behind them. They consider it an honor to pass the torch, teach the skills, teach the mindset. And so they're very active about it. It's not like they're out recruiting your children. But if you're interested, they are more than happy happy to take the time and do the work to teach you whatever you want to learn.
That's a great point. And I remember, and I forget whether it was at Chicago or in West Palm Beach. Was it at Beyond
Kinky
Leather?
College was Chicago. Yeah, Kinky College is in Chicago, and Beyond Leather was
One
here
of
in West Palm
those,
Beach.
there was an actual...
That was the
the
Beyond
Next
Leather.
Generation. Yeah.
Yes.
And actually, that was the title. It was like bringing along the next generation or something to that effect.
Yeah,
That's a really
they're
great
serious
point.
about it.
And also just in community building, because so within the kink community, there are in most areas, there are munches. And so basically that's where you all get together and you have lunch or breakfast or whenever the day is. And it's not a sexual thing. And you go to an actual just public restaurant and you guys, everybody
socialize,
talks.
yeah.
Talk
And-
about your kinks.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Kinks that you like.
Yeah, exactly.
how
And
it
You
is-
can't
whatever.
talk about that with
It's
your
in a vi-
coworkers.
it's in a vanilla setting, but you
Right.
talk about your community and
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. And so we don't do that as swingers because then it devolves into a
Orgy.
into an orgy.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, we
Oops,
were,
did I say that? Those
That's
darn
called a-
swingers.
We just skipped straight to here. Let me show you what that looks like.
Yeah.
And take off all our clothes at the IHOP.
so what we just did was fuel those negative
I know.
conceptions of what
I
swingers
know.
are.
I know.
Yeah.
Our own people.
Well, but
our
that,
own people.
so that goes to a point that we made earlier
Although
today
there is some
when we
truth
were
to
talking.
There
it
is.
depends on the venue.
Stereotypes exist for a reason, right? And so just like I said, the kink community doesn't do themselves any favors by consistently putting those images out there in social media and film and arts. And the same thing can be said of the swinger community. We
Yeah.
do promote those negative perceptions as a community. I think that's shifting, like you said, Crimson. There are some perceptions and some ideas that are really becoming more modern and a little more expansive, but it's still an issue. The stereotypes persist and we persist them.
And I was going to say, on the other side of that, yes, the stereotypes persist. When Tristan and I are interviewed on vanilla podcasts and they ask us about, swingers and what are swingers like and things like that, we talk often about how not everybody is just out to have sex with everybody else.
Right. We are discerning.
Right.
We don't fuck everybody.
Right. Now, and some might. And that's
That's okay.
that's their thing. Right. But it's not a blanket,
Right.
a blanket statement. And on the other side of that is when we go to kink events and people find out that we are swingers, we actually learn to phrase it a little bit differently. We just tell people we're non-monogamous. And we will oftentimes get kinksters that will come up to us and say, I want to talk to you about that because that's really what I thought I was doing. And I ended up in the kink, which I love. But I really had this interest in non-monogamy, but I didn't know how to do that.
Right.
And the only thing I knew how to do was find this dungeon and find this kink. And they're not the same at all.
Right.
And so on the other side of the coin, when we're talking and we go places as Swinky Life, then on the kink side are very comfortable, obviously, in talking about how to help the kinksters who are interested in learning about non-monogamy or opening up their relationships. And of course, they have all the same concerns and worries that any vanilla couple would, is like, this is going to hurt my relationship.
Right.
How do you possibly do that? How do you not get jealous? All of those exact same things that are true for everybody are true for them as well. And so it's fun to be able to educate them, to take those moments in their own kind of setting, to be able to say, well, here's what we do and here's what we did, but we're also on the kink side. So it kind of gives them an ease of mind because we're also part of that community.
Right.
And so it's like, oh my gosh, you can do both.
can
You can
do,
have, you're
yes.
right. But they are still very highly, highly interested in how this works and how you possibly do that. But I will say, I think we've had such great interactions at both the last two kink events at Kinky College
Yes,
and
we
Beyond
have.
Leather
Yeah.
in meeting groups that are so open to hearing about both sides of our
Yeah, I didn't pick
dynamic.
up any negativity
Not
at
at all.
all. I think they saw us and were so intrigued by our relationship and how we work it. They're like, how do you guys work this out? And we're
Right.
like, we just do.
We just do. Sometimes harder than others, but we still work it through. And so it's been really a kind of our own decision to be able to get out there and spread this message. But we're passionate about it because it's something that we see and we love both communities so much that we want people who want to be able to be on both sides of that coin to be comfortable and understand there's a place for them. There's a place for everybody.
Right.
Right.
It's my Venn diagram.
That's right. Except for I forget.
It's where kink and swinging intersects, and then there's a little ellipse in there where we fit.
We'll just put
I'm sorry. How did that look again?
A little visual. Actually, that's like a pussy. Yeah.
We should really be videotaping this.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Yeah.
looks like your
Imagine.
intersection looks like a vagina.
Yeah. What are the
Yeah.
odds of that?
Oh, imagine. With you,
With me, it's pretty damn good.
right?
As Tristan is holding his hands up to show his Venn diagram. We'll take a picture and we'll put it
What my ellipse looks like.
on Instagram.
Tristan's Venn
That'll be the picture
diagram.
for the show notes.
That'll be our picture.
Yes, yeah, we'll have to do that
God.
for sure.
gosh.
Absolutely.
Nobody will understand but us.
Yeah.
Or the listeners once they get to this part.
If they have.
know. Yeah. They all haven't been like, yeah, whatever.
Oh my gosh.
So what we really wanted to do was talk about why we're here, what we're doing, and it seemed like the perfect opportunity and time to talk about Swinky Life and introduce you guys and everybody out there into what Swinky Life is about and why we're here and why you're going to start seeing more about it, because we have found different ways. One of the classes, so we're teaching a Kink 101 class, and one
At
of
Naughty in New Orleans.
at Naughty in
Right.
New Orleans, yes. And one of the things that's important for us was to be able to tell swingers that kink isn't all bad and painful, like we said earlier. So we actually have like the softer, sensual side of kink. And we talk about what that looks like and how you can take kind of those baby steps. And we've found it fascinating that sometimes people say, oh, I don't like kink. I'm not into kink. I'm not kinky. But yet we go to the swinger events and you can't get into the dungeon, but no one's kinky. But they're all waiting their
Right,
turn
right.
to try the
Yep.
floggers and they want to try all the different things. And so our mission kind of is to be able to say, it's okay. You can talk about wanting to be kinky and you can talk about those things and you can even do the baby steps and start to incorporate them in your own bedroom play. And with your-
absolutely.
yeah.
Yep.
So that's part of the other piece of the puzzle. Is just like everything else, it's a spectrum when we talk about it ad nauseum.
Yes, we do. And I tend to land on the softer end of
Yeah.
the spectrum.
Yeah.
I like the sensation.
Me too.
Yeah. I think, well, we all like that as a foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other class that we're also teaching, our Bridging the Gap class, which is much like this. It's just talking about the different sides and introducing, since it's a swinger event, we'll be talking more about what the kinkster side looks like. We're so fortunate to be able to bring this to people and talk about it. Something that we're
I'm
passionate
excited
about.
about it.
Absolutely. So that's Swinky Life.
That's Swinky.
We are Swinky.
We are Swinky Life.
We are
Swinky.
Swinky Life.
We are living the
are.
Swinky life.
We are living the Swinky Life. Absolutely. And it's
Oh, we've had so
really
much fun.
fucking fun.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
I highly recommend it.
As we're driving on I-4 today, and Crimson and I are in the back seat of our car, and Marina's driving, and Phoenix is turning around teaching us a new knot so we can handcuff each other with rope.
Yep.
Yeah, like that's not
hot.
I know that's
That
not
is
something
hot.
that most people do
Right.
It's not?
on a road
Oh,
trip.
shit.
But
It made I-4 much more enjoyable.
yeah, really, it was a lot of fun.
But now you have a new skill.
Now I have a new skill.
You do.
with soft, sensual, sexy rope.
Yeah.
It's really hot.
Yeah.
And it's easy and it's fun and it's spicy and it just is awesome.
Yes.
It's really cool. What else? Anything else?
No, but I'm thinking.
He's already
bed over
planning.
there,
He's
huh?
already planning his evening exercises.
That's right.
Practice. You got to
Practice.
practice.
You gotta
Gotta
practice,
practice.
yeah.
Gotta practice.
That's what we call it around here.
Yes, it is. So we wanted to make sure that we kind of explained a little bit about what was going on with the accidental swingers, with where we are in our journey and our lifestyle. And the worlds are kind of colliding faster than we thought. This was not something that when Tristan and I started this journey that we ever thought that we would be talking about, not to mention having a podcast about it at all, but that kink would become a part of our lives. And as we grow in our journey in kink, we will bring you along for the ride because it has been an amazing experience. And when we have found things that have helped us push our boundaries a little bit, it has paid off in dividends, I would say.
Oh, absolutely.
And if we're not comfortable, we just say, not ready to do this yet. and then, come back to it later or not.
Right.
But that's the beautiful thing about kink. There's so many different ways. There's so many different things that you can do. And if this particular style doesn't suit you, then there's other things to do. When Phoenix and I first met in New Orleans, and we didn't have that audio, but the second night that we all met, so
Yes.
after the group sex night, was the night in the dungeon.
Night in the dungeon.
And Phoenix had...
Wait, there may be audio.
Oh.
I don't know.
Really?
Oh, there might. Yeah, you're right.
I
We
didn't
haven't
listen
listened
that far ahead.
Well,
yeah.
I can still tell the story, and then
Yeah.
we'll hear it in
we'll
real
back it
time
up,
when we get there. But he was tying people up because they wanted to be tied and flogged, and so I stood there and watched the whole time, watching him working with people, watching him tie. I was fascinated by it. It's so cool. The rope is really pretty, and it just was amazing. But I thought, I would never let someone do that to me. And at the end of the night, he said to me, I didn't tie you. Why didn't I tie you? And I said, you will never do that to me. I would never let anyone do that to me.
Go check Instagram.
Well, to me, it was so, you had to trust those people who may or may not have known you very well. Some of them, you may have had just met.
We met most of them the night before.
Okay. So I was like, how would you trust someone to tie you to something like that and then let somebody else use an implement on you like that? And I didn't understand. And there were people with bruises. And I'm like, I would never want my ass bruised like that. I just don't understand it. It doesn't look nice. It doesn't, I can't, it has to hurt like a motherfucker to have that happen. And so there was all these misconceptions, and I stood there and watched the whole thing, and I'm like, that will never be something that I do. But I was mesmerized by watching it all go down, and mesmerized by being in the dungeon, watching so many different people doing so many different things. It was just insane. It was crazy. It was awesome. But I just was still convinced. I didn't think that was something that would ever happen. And Phoenix said, and of course we had then already been introduced to kink. We knew some of the kink stuff already.
At that
We'd already
point,
been,
yeah,
we had been with the captain for a while. And so I knew what that level of intimacy was for people to allow someone to do that for them, or at least on my own personal level, that it would have to be incredibly deep to trust someone like that. And I just didn't know that I was going to be able to find someone that I would trust like that. But Phoenix asked me and said, well, can I show you? Can I teach you? And I said, if you let me do it to you, because I wanted to learn. I didn't want it just done to me. I wanted to learn what it was like to tie. That was what was interesting to me. And so that was the fuel that kind of led to that. And now I love it. I just love it. And it is so mesmerizing, but I do it in a different way. And what I love about it, and the things I want to learn, I see other people do, and I'm like, that's the rope style that I think I would really gravitate towards. Because guess what? There are tons of different styles. There's tons of different ways that you can do the different types of rope work. I found something that I think is really going to be great. And I don't know yet. I'm going to learn that style and learn what that means for me. But I think just in opening my mind and allowing that to happen, and finding someone who I happen to have been incredibly attracted to, allow that to happen. And as our relationship grew, that became relatively easy. It became easier for me to let that go and to say, yes, I want to try this.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'd like to follow up on two specific points you just touched on there. You mentioned the trust that's involved, right? So we talk about this a lot in the workshops, and this is my stock answer. Anytime I get this question, which we get these questions all the time from our swinger friends, what is the attraction for you to tie some other woman up? Why do you even want to do that? And my first always answer is for a human being to put their selves into my hands and allow me to do something that might be dangerous, that might be painful, depending on how we agree it will be done. The amount of trust that that person is giving me in that moment is insane. And it just happens to be my personal bent that trust and intimacy are a huge turn on. And so we meet at a party, we meet at a dungeon. You say, would you please tie me up? We have the appropriate discussions first, of course, but ultimately I tie you up. For me, that is a huge turn on. just the trust and intimacy that you transfer in that moment of allowing me to do that with you. That's a big part of the whole attraction for kink and BDSM all around, actually. And then the other thing you said was being in the dungeon, being in that environment, standing there and watching all of these other people engaged in all of these behaviors. You know, that takes me back to a moment that we shared recently at one of the events that we were at. It was very late. We were essentially closing the dungeon down, which we might do on occasion. And we were done. We had finished our scene. We're sitting there on the floor, piles of rope all around us. And we're just, because we knew the dungeon was going to close in like 10 minutes. So we're just sitting there. There's no rush to get out of the way. We're sitting there watching everyone else, still going at it, trying to get that last 30 minutes in before the lights come on, the music goes off. And I said, this is so cool. I am so at home here, because I understand other people would look around and say, oh my God, how can they do that to each other? I look around and all I see are people freely, openly displaying their affection for one another in the way that they both agree is right for them. And that's the cool thing for me about, and I love being in the dungeon. Oh my God, I would live in a dungeon 24/7. But that's what I love about it. There's no judgment. There's, you know, as long as you're obeying the rules of the dungeon, you express your personal affection for your partner in whatever way you two agree is appropriate. And the creativity is off the fucking chain.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times it is.
Yes, it is.
More to come.
Right.
Yeah,
More to come.
yeah.
I was gonna say, and it's okay, by the way, to be in a dungeon or something and be like, "Oh, I would never do
What the
that."
fuck?
Yeah, there's no fucking
Yeah,
way.
because just
Yeah.
give it time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think though the point that that's what I'm saying. It's okay to be like, "Oh, I would never ever do
and
that."
you
I
don't have to.
Right? You don't have to.
That's
and you
the
don't even
beauty
have
of
to,
it.
and you don't have to understand it. What we're saying is just at least respect it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all about the alternative love and lifestyle, and that umbrella is over so many things. It's over same-sex couples. It's over, it's an alternative love and lifestyle. Just be open to what that means for other people. And we say it, I think, and we've heard it in the Kink community, you don't yuck somebody else's yum. Doesn't mean you have to agree with it. Doesn't mean you have to want to do it. Doesn't mean you even are interested in hearing about it. But we respect that choice of people.
Right. And let them be.
And let them be.
Yeah.
Because it's important that we get to live our lives the way we want. So we don't want to be judged.
Right.
Again, as long as it's a consensual thing, they've agreed on it. It's that's how they want to express themselves and how they want to push themselves or whatever that means for them. It's amazing to watch and an amazing energy to be around.
Yeah, it is.
So I think it's so interesting hearing you say that your turn on is receiving that trust and having somebody trust you to do that. For me, it's the opposite. For me, it's surrendering and giving that trust to somebody else. That's what turns me on, and that's what fuels
and
me.
that makes perfect sense
Yeah.
when you compare the two of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And so so I'm the one who's typically tied up somewhere and
Yep.
getting spanked
Yep.
by one of these two lovely ladies, or both if it's a great night.
He loves
and
that.
flogged
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. So, and that really turns me on. And so it's really interesting. I mean, it's all over the spectrum. And,
It is.
And so,
and to what she said, when she said, I have to be able to do this too. Teach me.
yeah, you
and
go both ways.
That was a hell of a challenge. That was a
In
hell of
so
a
many
challenge
ways.
because
Yeah, because you never let me do that.
my stock answer forever when people would say, and you let other people do this to you, my stock answer forever was, oh, hell no. Why the fuck would I do that? That's a stupid idea. And it's flippant to kind of portray that image again here for a second, right? Promote my own stereotype. But it was not an easy thing for me to say, sure, I'll let you tie me up. We eased into that just like we eased into everything else. And you had to earn the right to take every step forward. And you earned it by learning and studying and practicing and getting good as a rigger on your own, which caused me to respect what you were trying to accomplish. And what I learned in the process was being in rope makes me a better rigger because I begin to appreciate more the value of the things that I'm doing to another person and what works and what doesn't and just all of that. So it's definitely been a mutually beneficial experience, but it was definitely a stretch too.
And I remember that too. And honestly, I don't know that I even actually have told you this, Phoenix, at all. Those almost exact same words came out of my mouth to Tristan when Tristan said, would you ever do that rope thing? I'm like, fuck no. Because I don't think he would ever have, I would never trust someone like that. I don't care how cute he is, how much fun we had at the foam party. Like that's a whole nother level that I don't know that I would get there with him. And this is, of course, right at the very beginning or in the first couple of months or whatever. And it was like, I'm not sure, because it was that you had to earn that from me as well. And you did. You respected the fact that I said, no, I'm not going to do this, and you're not going to do that. And
well, I laughed a little, but I did respect
it.
Yeah.
I think your response was, we'll see. And I said, fuck off. We will.
My response as well.
Yeah. Yeah. You were,
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't like that. Yeah. I didn't like that. You were not,
yeah.
And so, but tying this back up, the same thing that I think strengthens our relationship, and I'm looking at you, Myrina, that strengthens our relationship as swingers, I think also strengthens our relationship as kinksters, which is vulnerability. To me, that's the crux. So when I say my turn on is becoming vulnerable and giving that trust to somebody else, to me, vulnerability is like just hugely emotionally impactful. And so that is what, with swinging, allows us to forge a stronger relationship. Also in our kink journey, allows us to forge a stronger relationship, and allows me to forge a stronger relationship with Crimson because I'm being vulnerable.
Right.
And vulnerability is what leads to trust, and trust is what leads to intimacy, and intimacy leads to love. And so that's kind of how, to me, it all ties together. And I've said that phrase many, many times throughout the podcast. But I never really thought that would ever happen, as I'm tied to a spanking bench and getting spanked. But that's how it all ties together. And so it's counterintuitive, but everything that we're doing is counterintuitive.
Right.
So I want to summarize in a nutshell what I think I just heard you say. That BDSM and kinky behavior has the potential to strengthen the intimacy of a relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. That's exactly the message we want to convey to our swinger friends. And that's part of what Swinky Life is all about. That's the answer to why the hell do you do that shit?
Yeah, that's a great synopsis.
Yeah.
An unplanned synopsis.
I'm sorry, we'll have to take that out. It wasn't in the outline.
It was not in the outline.
Oh, it was pretty good, though, so we might leave that in. All right, I'll leave it in.
What was my outline?
I know, that's why I was laughing.
So I can ad-lib. I have license to ad-lib in my own outline.
Oh, okay, only I don't get to ad-lib.
Yeah, no, you don't.
All right, no. But anyways, that's exactly it. There you go. The foundation of everything, of all of it right there. And it goes for both sides. You can't have a successful non-monogamous relationship either if you don't have that level of trust and intimacy and communication. So they're the same, just very different. Yep. So welcome to the Swinky Life, everybody.
Welcome to the
Swinky Life.
We'll be your hosts. We'll be your guides.
Oh, yeah, we will.
We'll be your guides.
Your
The Swinky Life. That's right. In the Swinky Life.
Swinky Sherpas.
Yes. So that's what we're going to be doing at Naughty in New Orleans. And when we get there, and we're going to be teaching classes and talking about our relationship, our dynamic. We're going to be talking about Kink 101. We're actually going to be doing a beginner bedroom rope play class, which we're really excited about.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Just like super simple, easy stuff that you can do in the bedroom to spice it up.
Or in the back of your car on I-4.
Not if you're driving.
I did not participate. I kept both hands on the wheel. Whatever. Boring.
So responsible.
I know.
Well, they were tied to the wheel, so you had no choice.
That helps. That helps a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
I'm here all week.
But that's really what it's about, and that's what we were wanting to do. And so when you tune in to our social media channels, Instagram, of course, you can find us as @Accidental Swingers or
At Myrina's Tristan.
But also, we've talked about it the last couple times. You can also find us at
At Swinky_Life.
there you go, and
at Crimson Dragonfly _SL.
That's right, for Swinky Life, in case you didn't pick that up. Yeah, so that's the four of us, and you can follow us on our Instagram accounts. We will be doing we're going to try and do a ton of pictures and hopefully some stories and reels and things like that through our journey through New Orleans. So we hope that you join us on our social media sites for that. You can also check out the Swinky Life website, www.swinkylife.com, which is spelled SWINKY, Swinky Life. So you can find out more information there. You'll see our story. You'll see some of the outlines of some of the workshops we do. We actually have some blog posts on there that introduce ourselves as kinksters, kind of talking about that a little bit more. So if you want to read a little bit more about our evolution and our journeys, that is there as well. And of course, you can find us on our website, accidentalswingers.com, for all of the information there on our podcast and our travels and all the other shenanigans and things that we are up to are on our website.
There are many more shenanigans in the making.
There are.
Yes.
Yeah. We say that all the time. We're like, there's great things coming, people, but there's great things coming, people.
There's some fucking great things
We
coming.
have some awesome irons in the fire, so to speak, to kind of stoke that kink thing going. There you go.
And the swing thing.
And the swing thing. That's right. There you go. So, but I think that's it for this episode,
I think
right?
so, yeah.
Yep. Welcome to Swinky Life.
Welcome to Swinky Life.
I know. There we go.
Cheers, guys.
Yay. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Let's do
Our
it.
drinks are all done.
Here, let's have a
well,
cheer. No,
mine
mine's
isn't.
not.
All right, here's
Here, we're going to toast to Swinky Life.
Here,
Here
I'll
we
take
go.
the old fashioned.
All right, there we
you
go.
go.
And
All right.
toast
There you go.
to Swinky Life.
Cheers.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We hope that you enjoy this. We hope, if you have questions, by the way, any questions that you want to ask us, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can DM any of us on our Instagram accounts, or you can also send emails. Myrina at accidentalswingers.com. I think you are.
Phoenix Fire at swinkylife.com.
Okay. And then Tristan is Tristan at Accidental Swingers.
Yes.
And Crimson,
Crimson
you are
Dragonfly.
at Swinky Life.
But point out that your Phoenix Fire is not spelled the way that one might
Oh,
expect.
yes.
Oh, that's right.
PhoenixPhyre.
Yes. So if you're not sure, go to the website and it'll be there too, and you can do that as well. But anyway, so to join us there, if you have any questions, let us know. We are thrilled always to answer your questions. If you have, how do I get into this? What does this look like? All of those things, happy to answer all of the questions for you as well. But follow us, and we will see you next time.
Until next time.
Until next time. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Loved this episode of The Accidental Swingers? Pop on over to your favorite podcast platform and subscribe to our show. And while you're there, you can leave us a review. You can also visit our website, accidentalswingers.com, to get show notes, read our blog, or find out about our next adventure. Join us next time and listen along as we bumble our way through this adventure that we call the lifestyle.